The master has failed more times than the beginner has even tried. Stephen McCranie. My friends, as we look at the market as it ends today, we see stocks are down pretty handily. We see bonds, gold, and Bitcoin are up. Let's jump first into the S&P 500 down, hammering down 1.75%. But what do we see? Well, we see right there around the 184 mark, there is some heavy support. Now, it may open tomorrow and blast through that, but if it does not, and again, our probability is about 70-75% that it's going to hold there. Now, if indeed that does happen, and we have back tested this, where these similar pullbacks have occurred, stopped at those levels and moved up, and about a 60-75% chance that indeed that is going to occur. Now, if that happens and we see a green candle forming with good volume, then indeed that might be a jumping in point for a practice trade. The aggressive entry is about where things are now, up maybe another 70 cents or so to 584.48. The strict entry, which again is where I like to go. I like the stricter rather than the aggressive, and as I run the numbers on it, I see that the strict entry wins more often, and again, you don't make as much, but you don't risk as much and lose as much. And overall, from the numbers I have run, that seems to be the best. But again, not discouraging you. You get a good feeling. You want to practice trade. This is all about learning by doing. You can sure do that. Expected up move around $15.52 to $28.31. Risk to reward ratio is 1-to-1 on the aggressive and 1-to-2 on the strict. And as we look at, like I said, the probability, 65 to 75%. Now let's move from, and again, you can see things moving down strongly. You can see all of the volume here on the 2-day candles. This latest 2-day candle is the Friday, Monday. And again, you can see where things came down. You can see Thursday afternoon down here at the bottom. You can see Friday afternoon with the doji, things popping up in the morning on Monday and then rotating down. But you can see where the candle itself is. But you can look at all of that volatility. We're taking that into account with that strong down move. Let's see if that 583 level is a potential area of support right there at 583, 584. What's up with the Qs? Well, we are long on them also, even with that push down 2.19%. We'll see if the Qs offer a level of support. Now, it's got further to drop down. That support is around the 493.58 mark. 493, we're at 497.05. As we close for the day, you can see it right here. You can see where the bid ask is after hours right here at the 498 mark. So again, it's got a ways to go on down. The strict entry point is the 593.58 to the 597.27. The aggressive entry point is at the, I'm saying fives here when I shouldn't. 493.58 to the 497.27. That's on the strict. And again, it's in all your show notes. For those of you who are subscribers, in the show notes, all of this is listed. But for the folks that aren't subscribers, I want to encourage you to become one because we don't sell or spam that list. And again, just go to chartingwealth.com, sign up. You will see the grid, what we call the trade execution summary grid. You will see that in the show notes every day. So the aggressive entry on the Qs is 497.94. Now that is just a little higher than where we are now. I would not look to jump in on any of that until, again, what do you see? You see a green candle on that half-day chart with strong volume showing you that it indeed has found a bottom and is pushing up. And again, looking at the resistance there at the 493.58 mark. And again, a 1-to-1 to a 1-to-2 risk to reward ratio, and about a 60-70% back test accuracy. and that 60's on the aggressive, 70 on the strict. Now let's move out of stocks into, and let's watch and see how this plays out this week. This is our prediction here over the next 20 days. So we'll keep our eye on things, see if they do move in that direction. What do we see with 20-year U.S. government bonds? As we look at them, we are long 60 to 75%. We're currently at 92.57. We see support at 89.58. We see resistance at 92.71. The aggressive entry is at 92.52. The strict entry is on a pullback to around the 89.58 to the 91.84 mark. And then, of course, support pushing that back up. Risk-to-reward ratio is 1 to 2. Expected movements around $2 to $3.50 or so. And as we look at the back test on the accuracy of this approach, it's 70 to 75%. So again, something for you to look at, something for you to consider. Do wait to see if indeed you're going to jump in on that strict entry point. Things do pull back and give you a good basis of that support holding at the 89.58 mark and then shooting up from there. Otherwise, again, if things look good around where things are now, that would be your aggressive entry point, but I would be careful on that. What about gold? Well, gold up for the day, 1.32%. As we look at gold, we are long. We see about a 75 to 80%. Those are pretty good directional probabilities. Right now, gold closed at 66.74. And as we look at our support, we see, and what did 266.74. We see support at 264.75. We see resistance at 266.88. Our aggressive entry is right about where things are now, 266.62. And again, if you wait for a pullback for the strict one, bouncing down to that support level and then taking off from there, that would be 264.75 to 265.07. And expected moves, a little, above $10 to a little above $15, a 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio. And our backtest accuracy showing 75 to 80%. Again, keep an eye on things. Let's see if gold just keeps a booming. Now, lastly, but we have had these last 4 days of pullback, at least as far as the 2-day candle goes. Last week was a doji. We've pushed through that weekly trend line. So again, and you have all those days of that down movement except for today. So keep an eye on things. Hopefully this level is a level of where we'll see support. And again, things will bounce back as we have seen happen over this past run up. So at some point though, as the saying goes, the trend is your friend until the end when it bends. Okay, let's see what's up lastly with Bitcoin, HODL. We are long. Again, it's the lowest odds, 60 to 65%. Right now, it's at 24.34. We see support around the 24.07 mark. We see resistance at 26.37. The aggressive entry point is just a few cents above where we are right now at 24.37. Strict entry point is around the 24.07 to the 22.92 mark. And again, that is on what? That is on a pullback. And again, holding there at that support or even below that support to the next support line. We are looking at about a $4 to a $6 move. And as we back test that again, the back test is the lower one of all of them. It is 60 to 65% aggressive versus strict as far as that having been back tested and worked in the past, the recent past. So that is where we are. We've got, interesting direction, probabilities, interesting support resistance levels. Again, if you want this chart, it is in your show notes. You have to be a subscriber, of course, to get the show notes. You can go to chartingwealth.com, sign up. You will see that we post everything every day, but we do not post our trade execution summary grid. That comes via the email. Friends, always good to hear from you. If you're not a subscriber, want to support the work that we do here beyond just subscribing, become a Patreon supporter, we would so appreciate it. First thing you're going to get, actually two big things. 3-part series, Options Made Simple, The Charting Wealth Way, as well as the only way to get my book at this point, the latest book I've written, 3-Wave Trade. The only way to get that is through becoming a Patreon member. And we would love to have you have a copy of what my 3-wave trading technique, my entire book. And I've gotten nothing but compliments. I'm very proud of it. I'd like you to have a copy of it. God bless my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.